Hello, I'm Kathleen Hall, and this is The Way I See It.
Hello, I'm Ken Pierre, and this is The Way I See It.
Well, it's Black History Month,
Whoop, whoop.
which we all know, hopefully we all know, February, Black History Month. And so I really wanted to talk about one of my sheroes in the world, who happens to be Harriet Tubman, and they call her Moses, the Moses of her people, but really the Moses of all people. We've called Abraham Lincoln a Moses because he's led during that time so many people out of slavery and bondage, and Martin Luther King has recently been called a Moses to all of us, to lead us out of bondage and dead ideas that need to die, and some transcendence and movement to freedom for all of us. And she, I don't think enough people know about Harriet Tubman. I love her, and I don't know if you grew up knowing about her, or if you or learned about it later in life, or history class, or
history class.
Was it history class?
But it wasn't extensive, so I had to go back and I wish they would do like a documentary or even a movie.
They said there's a movie about her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I was just researching her online.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the name of it is, but we can all Google that.
Yeah, we will.
and I really think it's important because each of us either can be a Moses or maybe needs a Moses, and I really do mean that sometimes when it was kind of like when my life was going sideways and I knew I needed some help, and I didn't know what to do, I found a great therapist, thank God, that changed my life, changed our marriage, changed our family. And the same thing maybe at a time in my life, too, when I really needed a friend or friends, and, somebody appeared and became literally leading me out of my own personal bondage or sadness or grief or whatever. So Moses, I hate to make it into such a huge Abraham Lincoln. Do you know what I mean? Do we have to have those huge monumental Moses in our lives? Yes, we do.
I feel like we
also, there's every day. Like, a gas station attendant that I had for years when I was really struggling with a problem that I really don't want to share right now, but I mean a really big problem. And he was the kind of guy that I could go in and cry, and he was old, and he had wisdom, and just an amazing human being. But back to my great dear friend Harriet Tubman. She was absolutely amazing. She was born into slavery. She got out of Maryland, freed herself, and became I've got the little dogs down here, of course. She became the Moses, delivering lots of slaves into the freed land, the Union. And she did it most of her life, and just her sacrifice was beyond belief. And when she was even young, she was beaten so badly with a piece of steel from a slaveholder that had her, that she lived her whole life having everything from memory problems to seizures to all kinds of problems, major suffering. And but decided once she got into freedom, she could have stayed there. But no, she decided to go back and help the other people.
Many times.
Many times come and escape. And so she knew the routes that she had developed. It was called the Underground Railroad. They called her the conductor. And she wasn't fearless, because I don't want to say that. But she looked at fear in the face and said, I have to do this. This is exactly what I'm called to do. And she was just an amazing human being, bigger than life. And at one point, to show her sacrifice, her teeth had become so infected, her front upper teeth, that she was leading some people out, and they were near a swamp, and the slave hunters were hunting them down. And she knew that they could be killed if she cried out or did anything. So what she did to keep totally still was she took the butt of her gun and literally smashed out her front teeth with all the infection and all the horrible things, and sat there to sacrifice that so that nobody would be caught or hurt. She's just, when you read her biographies or slave narratives, whatever, you'll never be the same. You will never be the same again. So I think everybody needs to read about her and read about these.
She had a big impact
slave narratives
on me, because before Ulysses S. Grant, that was my Ulysses S. Grant.
Yes.
Because I've never heard anybody with so much willpower and determination to see there's people.
Yes.
So And she's a woman. Like, why wouldn't I be able to do that? Like, I'm not saying like to undermine women, but I feel like it should be in everyone's divine right, or in their I guess lineage. Hey man, I need to push to bring my people forward, like Harriet Tubman. Like what? Like man, I don't know. That's just a figure that's transfixed in my mind as she's more than a legend. She's more than
definitely, absolutely. I mean, she's when you read the great biographies about her, she becomes real. I read her before I go to bed, and it changes your life. But I also think there are some tips or some lessons we can learn from Harriet. One is a knowing. She knew from the time she was young, even when she was beaten by that horrible slave holder that beat her with the steel, and when she came and stood back up, she said there was a voice inside of her where it was a knowing that had to happen for the purpose of her life. It wasn't complaining, crying, or anything. She became empowered with the knowing and claiming her power. And the next thing that she always did was she always listened to herself. She said that it was the voice of God. A lot of people would say it was your intuition or your higher self or whatever term that you personally would want to use. But I think the lesson for me from her is to listen to yourself. A lot of us get so busy and crazed that we don't really trust our own inner self and our own power and our own knowing or our own higher self.
Witness.
Yeah. And another thing is action. She acted. I mean, and there she did act fearlessly. Now, she would say, I've got to go save these 3 slaves. They're going to get sold in the morning, or I've got to go help these people. At one point, she worked for the Union Army. She worked as a spy. She worked as a nurse. Oh my God, this woman, what she didn't do. She went in and helped them orchestrate saving 700 slaves. She's just beyond belief. She's fearless. She would do anything to help her people and to help the United States. And by the way, later she went on to help the suffragettes. She became huge. Also, she went to the Quakers. And she would get them to support their financially, houses to hide the slaves, places to protect them. I mean, she developed a web, a family of people.
She didn't even know how to read.
Yeah. I forgot that small little detail. She didn't even know how to read. And then the next thing is commitment. It's kind of like one of our themes here at the Mindful Living Network is commitment. And we even have a bag that we carry around that says commitment on it. People don't want to commit anymore. It's like, I don't know if I want to sign that. I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I want to quit smoking. I don't know if I want to quit eating this. Commitment. She committed till the day she died to serve people and get them out of servitude and to get them out of slavery. And she did. She committed till the day she died that women should have the right to vote. She committed to that. And there is an energy. It's like these Olympics that we talked about. There's an energy.
You always feel her spirit. No matter, anytime it's talked about, her spirit is a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. And then next is sacrifice. How many of us are willing to sacrifice anymore? I mean, we live in a pretty entitled society. And talk about sacrifice. I don't know, take a butt of a gun and knock your teeth out. Have your body eaten almost alive with mosquitoes, and slither through snakes and swamps and hide in trees and freeze to death. A lot of times it would be below zero and they couldn't move because the slaveholders would be running around and they would be laying in snow or sleet for hours at a time, freezing to death where she couldn't feel her legs and her arms. I mean, just the sacrifice is just beyond belief.
This lady.
So, and then finally is legacy. She did all this and she has a legacy. She never did it for a legacy. No. But the legacy she has is our legacy, I really truly believe each of us are called to be a Moses, to lead people. And if you're not a Moses, there's something you need to be a Moses about.
I agree.
And commit to it, sacrifice for it. The rewarding, authentic life that you'll have, isn't it? It's beyond belief.
Especially when it comes to giving. I just feel like that's the ultimate gift, is being able to give and not expect anything.
Yeah, that's true.
To me, that's the most rewarding. When I used to do humanitarian missions, when I was out for Hurricane Katrina, and we would, go rescue people, like, man, just to see that joy and feel their energy, that's what I loved about the military, like being able to help people that need help.
So as we close up talking about Harriet Tubman. Just, really think about her. I mean, spy, scout, nurse, person who brought people out of slavery. Illiterate, yeah, worked in the Union Army, never even really got paid a stipend or anything for service related till almost the day she was died. She fought for it her entire life. But see, she couldn't read or write, so there were no printed material of her being the scout. I mean, but she didn't care. She never gave up. She fought for all of us forever. So it's Black History Month, and do me a favor, you, your child, your family, your spouse, read as much or as little as you can about Harriet Tubman, because really, she will change your life. She changed mine.
I salute you, Harriet Tubman. But as always, my name is Ken Pierre. This is the way I see it.
And I'm Kathleen Hall. This is the way I see it. Thanks for joining us.
You guys have a great day.